Could a woman the world once adored really be hiding secrets so explosive that even the royal family might be blindsided? That's exactly the question everyone is asking today. After the Saudi crown prince dropped a revelation about Meghan Markle, details so shocking they could completely rewrite the story of her yacht lifestyle. Yes, the same Meghan Markle who smiled for cameras, charmed audiences worldwide, and seemed untouchable behind her glamorous public persona. But behind that perfect image, whispers have always lingered. And now, those whispers are screaming. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Picture this, a massive yacht, glistening under the Mediterranean sun, crystal clear waters reflecting champagne-colored sunsets, VIP guests sipping cocktails while soft music drifts across the deck. It's the kind of place where billionaires rub elbows with celebrities and secrets are as plentiful as the caviar on the tables. And at the center of it all, Meghan Markle, a duchess, an influencer, a woman who could charm a room into silence with just a smile. But the crown prince's bombshell suggests there was more happening behind closed doors than anyone imagined. Could it be that this idyllic lifestyle was masking something darker, something calculated? And then there's the diamond. A royal treasure, a symbol of history, prestige, and untouchable wealth. And yet, the rumors suggest that a single misstep or a single bold decision might have put that treasure at risk. Was it ambition, a moment of temptation, or something far more deliberate? The story is unfolding now, and every revelation makes the previous rumors look tame. People around the world are asking, how far would someone go for power, for influence, for sheer audacity? The timing couldn't be more critical. Royal scandals have always captivated audiences, but in this digital age, they explode. Every leaked photo, every offhand comment, every sudden disappearance from the public eye fuels speculation. And Meghan Markle, always at the center of attention, has never been more scrutinized. The Crown Prince's statement doesn't just feed gossip. It threatens to reshape narratives about loyalty, trust, and what it really means to belong to royalty. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about image versus reality, about ambition versus ethics, and about what happens when one person's bold choices collide with centuries of tradition. So what exactly did the Crown Prince reveal? How does a yacht, luxury, and secrecy intersect with one of the most iconic royal families in the world? And what does this mean for Meghan's legacy, her reputation, and the people who trusted her? The answers are coming. But they're stranger than you could imagine. Every detail, every angle, every seemingly innocent decision on that yacht could change everything. And just when you think you've seen it all, the next twist hits. But the story doesn't start with a diamond, and it doesn't start with scandal. It starts on a yacht, a vessel of power, of influence, and, as it turns out, secrets that could shatter images of glamour and trust alike. And the Crown Prince saw it all. What he revealed next would send shockwaves across social media, the press, and royal circles. But what came next would change everything, and no one saw it coming. Imagine stepping onto a yacht so lavish it makes palaces look ordinary. Marble floors, glass staircases, gold accents glinting in the sun. Crystal chandeliers swinging gently above decks designed for billionaires. It's a floating kingdom where the ordinary rules of life don't apply, except that every movement is being watched. And on this yacht, Meghan Markle wasn't just a guest. She was the center of attention, a force of nature wrapped in designer labels and perfect smiles. But as dazzling as it all looked, there was tension simmering under the surface. Whispers passed between waiters and crew. Eyes darted in corners where no cameras could reach. And amidst the laughter and champagne toasts, some were already noticing patterns. How Meghan moved, how she spoke, the subtle dominance she seemed to wield over every conversation. This wasn't just a party. It was a stage, and she was performing with precision. And yet, even with all this glamour, something didn't feel right. Guests would later describe moments of strange disappearance. A door closed too long, a briefcase left unattended, conversations cut short. It was like she had two worlds operating at once. One insider would reveal later. The public only saw the elegance and charm. Behind the scenes, it was more calculated, more intense. Every handshake, every laugh, every glance seemed loaded with intention. And it wasn't just the crew or the other guests who noticed. The Saudi crown prince, watching from afar, was already piecing together a picture no one else could see. It's easy to look at a yacht, a party, a sparkling sunset, and think it's all frivolous. But this was a crucible of influence. A single move, one miscalculated interaction, could ripple through networks of power, spilling into headlines, whispers in royal corridors, even private security channels. And according to the crown prince, that ripple was coming, and it was about to hit with the force of a storm. So what exactly was he seeing? What did Meghan do that made even seasoned royals and powerful billionaires uneasy? Was it charm, manipulation, ambition, or something else entirely? People who were there hint at moments so subtle, yet so telling, that it became clear. This was a woman who knew exactly how to command every eye in the room, every conversation, every decision. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden reflections across the yacht's polished decks, one moment would occur that no one could ignore. But just as everyone began to relax, believing the night was all sparkle and champagne, a single observation by the crown prince would change everything. And it wasn't about the parties, the dresses, or even the glamour. It was about something far more daring, something that could rewrite the way the world sees Meghan Markle. What he revealed next would shock the yacht's elite and the rest of the world. When the Saudi crown prince speaks, people listen. And when he drops a revelation about Meghan Markle, the world pays attention. But this wasn't a simple rumor or a passing comment at a gala. According to insiders, what he revealed about Meghan's yacht stay and the events surrounding it was nothing short of explosive. You might think you know her story. You think you've seen the headlines, the interviews, the smiling photos. But this goes deeper. Much deeper. The crown prince's account paints a picture of a night unlike any other. Imagine the yacht again, laughter echoing, the sun finally gone, a calm sea reflecting hundreds of glittering lights. Everyone believed it was just another glamorous evening. But Meghan, according to the reports, was operating on another level entirely. Every interaction calculated. Every smile, a tool. Every conversation, a chess move. Some insiders described it as magnetic, but dangerous. Others whispered the word that would ignite headlines for months, audacious. And then came the diamond. A royal treasure, a symbol of centuries of heritage, suddenly mentioned in the crown prince's statement. He didn't elaborate fully at first, but the implications were immediate. Was it misplaced? Was it at risk? Or, as some feared, had it been taken? The phrasing alone, carefully chosen, deliberate, sparked speculation. Yacht girl by trade, thief by skill. The world froze. Was this hyperbole, or had someone actually crossed a line that no one dared to imagine? But it wasn't just about the treasure. It was about observation. The crown prince, powerful and discerning, noticed patterns others overlooked. How Meghan positioned herself in rooms, the way she directed attention without appearing to, even the subtle influence she exerted over staff and high-profile guests. These weren't mere coincidences. These were calculated acts of strategy. And they didn't just impress, they unsettled. Because when someone moves like that, they can change outcomes, shift alliances, and make powerful people vulnerable without lifting a finger. The insiders hint at moments that almost seem cinematic. A brief disappearance below deck, a locked cabinet, a hushed conversation that left an entire group frozen in tension. And according to the crown prince, this wasn't happenstance. It was intentional. Every move, every glance, seemed designed to create opportunity. But what opportunity? And at whose expense? By the end of the night, the yacht's glittering charm had shifted. What was once purely elegance now carried an undercurrent of suspicion. The crown prince's revelation didn't just shake the guests. It sent ripples through royal circles, media outlets, and social networks around the world. Everyone began asking the same question. What was Meghan really capable of? And more importantly, what would happen when the full story came to light? Just when it seemed the scandal couldn't escalate further, a new piece of evidence emerged. A leaked video, captured by someone no one expected. And according to sources, it exposed a truth so shocking that even the crown prince himself described it as unprecedented. But the world wouldn't see it immediately. What this video contained would change everything, and no one was prepared for what came next. The world knows Meghan Markle as a duchess, a socialite, a media star. Cameras follow her every step. Headlines praise her style, her causes, her charisma. But behind closed doors on that yacht, insiders say a very different story was unfolding. One that would make even the most seasoned observers question everything they thought they knew. Yacht girl by trade, thief by skill. The phrase alone sparks intrigue, but according to those closest to the events, it wasn't just a metaphor. Think of a game of chess. Every move is deliberate. Every gesture has meaning. Meghan, according to multiple sources, operated like a master strategist. She knew who to engage, when to retreat, and how to turn distractions into advantage. Guests remember moments that seemed innocent, a passing remark, a smile exchanged, a quick glance at a cabinet. Nothing appeared unusual, but in the Crown Prince's view, nothing was accidental. Every action was a calculated test of loyalty, of attention, of opportunity. And somewhere in that sequence of subtle moves, the diamond, the queen of all royal treasures, entered the picture. Some say she was bold, almost reckless. Others call it brilliance. But what's undeniable is that the yacht became more than a vessel for luxury. It became a stage for a high-stakes game that no one else fully understood. Crew members recall the tension, tiny gestures that hinted at a hidden agenda. Conversations abruptly ended when she approached. Packages moved when she left the room. Guests, dazzled by champagne and sunsets, barely noticed. But the Crown Prince noticed everything. He saw patterns in real time that suggested not just charm or ambition, but deliberate manipulation. And then came the leaked evidence. A short video clip, unnoticed at first, circulated quietly among insiders before exploding online. It showed a glimpse of Meghan's movements that aligned with the Crown Prince's statements, subtle, precise, audacious. Observers gasped. Could one person really orchestrate so many outcomes so effortlessly? Was this strategic genius or theft? The line blurred, and the more people examined the evidence, the harder it became to separate truth from scandal. By the end of the night, the yacht's glittering facade had changed. What seemed like elegance was now shadowed by questions of audacity, risk, and betrayal. Was Meghan simply ambitious, or had she crossed into dangerous territory? Who had noticed, and who had underestimated her? The Crown Prince's bombshell left everyone on edge, knowing that what unfolded here would ripple far beyond the Mediterranean coast, into headlines, palace halls, and public debate. And yet, even after all of this, one question remains unanswered, one that keeps royal insiders and observers around the world awake at night. What will the consequences be? What will the world remember? Her glamour, her cunning, or the audacity of the act that turned a luxury yacht into a theater of scandal? And just when you think you've seen the full picture, a final revelation emerges, one that could upend everything we think we know about Meghan Markle's daring night. By now, it's clear that this isn't just a story about yachts, luxury, or royal charm. It's about power, strategy, and a woman who, according to insiders and the Saudi Crown Prince, operates on a level few can even comprehend. Meghan Markle's actions that night weren't random. They were deliberate, calculated, and, for some, audacious to the point of scandal. A single evening on the Mediterranean became more than a party. It became a high-stakes game that exposed ambition, secrecy, and the extraordinary influence one person can wield in the right, or wrong, circumstances. The Crown Prince's bombshell doesn't just shock, it forces reflection. What happens when glamour masks strategy? When charm hides calculation? When a single bold act can ripple across royal circles, global media, and social perception? Meghan's yacht stay was more than luxury. It was a stage where every smile, every movement, and every subtle decision carried weight. And the whispers about the diamond? Whether legend or reality, they added tension, danger, and drama that only fueled the world's fascination. So what does this all mean for Meghan Markle's legacy? Will history remember her for style, influence, and charisma? Or for audacity, risk, and controversy? The answer is still unfolding, and the world is watching closely. One thing is certain: when power, secrecy, and high society collide, the consequences are never simple, and sometimes the brightest lights cast the darkest shadows. And here's the takeaway. Curiosity, ambition, and audacity can create opportunities, but they can also create scandals. Meghan Markle's story reminds us how fragile perception can be, and how quickly a single night, a single move, can rewrite narratives we thought were unshakable. If you want to see the next chapter of this story, the leaks, the videos, the reactions, and the aftermath, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Because this scandal is far from over, and the world hasn't seen the full picture yet.